And we are about a month away and a half away from the World Cup coming to New Jersey, MetLife Stadium, or New York, New Jersey Stadium. It's the responsibility of the host county and state, in this case Bergen County, to work out any logistics surrounding the matches for those 8 days. Taking the lead is Bergen County Executive Jim Tedesco, mapping out transit routes, planning police security operations, and more.
Route 3, Route 17, 120, Washington Avenue, all those highways, all those roadways are the responsibility of the county and the local municipal police forces. So we have to put a plan together that is going to be able to address anything that happens on any of those roadways.
Good point. The big catch: who foots the cost of this massive undertaking? Mr. Tedesco joined me earlier to talk about all the preps and covering that bill. Here's more. Bergen County Executive Jim Tedesco is joining me now, so great to have you here.
Thanks, Dan. Glad to be here.
Let's talk about this. This is a big endeavor, you know, Bergen County being the host county to the World Cup. Let me talk about what this means for you and the county overall before we get into some of the logistical measures of it all.
Yeah, listen, we want the FIFA World Cup to be successful. You know, this is a great opportunity to showcase our whole region, you know, everything that we have to offer here in Bergen County in northern New Jersey. Hundreds of thousands of people will come through. You know, 1.5 billion fans across the world will be watching. And, you know, it's something that we want to be successful. We want this to showcase who we are as a state and as a county. And we're ready to do our part. And, you know, that's where things are starting to come together. But, you know, we want to make sure that everyone's visit here to the region is welcoming as possible.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of the logistical measures, Jim, about what exactly this kind of plays out, right? State police are going to handle security over at the stadium, but you are kind of handling all of the traffic and movement of people that's going to be happening outside of the stadium, and there's a whole logistical nightmare in terms of getting people there. You heard the ticket problem with New Jersey Transit and drop-offs and so on and so forth. So what does that mean for your resources?
Yeah, so the state police has as you said, the site itself, and then everything outside will be local, municipal, and county responsibility. So the roadways and things like that, you know, one of the things we're concerned about is historically people have been able to drive there, park and tailgate and things like that. That's not going to happen. So how do you break that? How do you break that mentality, or how do you educate people that they can't come? We still believe people are going to try to do that, and we have to be prepared for that. What happens if there's a serious accident and one of the highways, 17 or 3, gets closed down? We have to be able to mitigate all those things. You know, we have to have our bomb dogs. We have to have our hazmat. We have to have all these other things ready and available to handle everything on the outside, along with handling the million people that live in Bergen County every day and the hundreds of thousands that visit, because 2 of the games are on weekdays.
Yeah, so kind of talk about the funding for all of that you just talked about, right? Making sure all of that kind of works out as according to plan. Are you getting funds from the state, or is FIFA chipping in at all to kind of pay for some of this overtime you're going to accrue to do all of that?
Yeah, so the state police has notified us that we will receive some funding for our emergency operations center to staff that while the event's going on for all eight games. Some of the local municipalities, I think 6 of them, will receive some funding. We're not aware of how that formula was done. We don't know how they chose to give us that money, but it's certainly not going to cover all the costs that we are going to incur. And that's one of the issues that I have, is that I don't feel that it should be the responsibility of taxpayers of Bergen County to fund all the costs that we're going to incur providing this type of security and support.
So bottom line, what's the plan then, right? Who are the conversations you've been having with? Is it the governor to kind of make sure that that funding is taken care of so it doesn't get passed on to a Bergen County resident?
So I did have a conversation with the governor. The governor said that, you know, she's looking at trying to do what she can to get more money from the federal government and how that's going to be then allocated. But it's got to be spread across the whole state. Don't forget, we're not the only ones. There's host communities that are housing some of the nation's soccer teams that they have to do, and so there's a lot of cost with little money. And listen, at the end of the day, we're going to be ready, but I'm going to fight like hell to make sure that Bergen County gets what it should.
Worst case scenario, if you don't and you lose the battle, does that get passed on to the taxpayer?
Well, we have a budget that we have money appropriated for safety and security throughout the county. Certainly some of those funds will have to be applied to those additional costs. But the way we're going to look at this is we're going to plan for the worst, but prepare and be able to respond. But we're gonna make sure that we also provide the protection that we need to do for the rest of the county, and try to balance that. Yeah. And so it's not an easy task, but we have the folks that are up to that challenge.
Yeah, County Exec, let me ask you a question overall just about, there's a report out that some hotels didn't get the anticipated number of reservations they were hoping to, or 7 weeks out from the first game. Are you seeing kind of this influx in hotel reservations, or have you heard anything about whether or not people are actually booking and you're going to make the revenue that you're anticipating from people spending money in the county?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that, I said right from the beginning when this started 3 years ago, how after the Super Bowl, Bergen County didn't see really much economic gain or anything. And I didn't want that to happen again here with FIFA. Things are slow. I will tell you that I believe the fundraising numbers are not where they want them to be. I think that some of the hotels are booked closest to the Meadowlands, but the further you get away, Dan, it becomes less and less.
What's the benefit then? If you didn't see the gains after the Super Bowl, what's the benefit to having something like the World Cup besides bragging rights?
Yeah, exactly. Listen, we want our businesses to get the extra business. We're hoping that as we get closer to the day and to the games, there'll be more and more. There'll be more and more interest, and things will happen. We're having fan fests. We're having one of our fan fests here. Bergen County's hosting a fan fest at Overpeck Park. Yeah. And there's going to be 6 other ones that the Meadowlands Chamber is helping sponsor. Okay. So those are things where we're gonna include the communities here in Bergen County, so that they can feel part of this. But at the end of the day, we really want the businesses across Bergen County to be successful in seeing some of the benefits out of the World Cup. Yeah, I mean, if the ticket prices are so expensive, it's hard to book a hotel, but that's a different conversation. We're out of time. Always good to talk to you, my former Bergen County. I no longer live there, but it was great while it lasted. Great to talk to you. I know you still live in Jersey, though.
I know.
We're happy to have you in Jersey, Dan.
Good to see you as always.
All right, take care.